I had initially wanted to have this topic or to do this topic with a group, probably to start with, and at some point bring in professionals, because it's heavy. It's a heavy topic, and but a series of events that have happened, not some directly towards me and some to others, like for 3 days now, have caused me to decide to do this now, because pushing it further and further along will not help me, will not help anyone else. And my main purpose for starting this channel was to be able to, through my experiences, both the good and the bad, and specifically the negative, because not many people want to use those to help others, to be able to reach out and help someone out there see themselves different and see life differently, and have some hope and take steps towards making their life beautiful again. So here's my story. Darlings, I want to be quite frank. I am quite nervous. I don't know how this will be taken, and it's apart from my family and close friends, not many people know this about me. Maybe they guess or they assume, but they don't really know this about me. And so I am so nervous because, one, I don't want to be treated differently as I already do, but it is necessary to give life to this conversation. And the only way to truly give life to it is through people's personal experience, people that someone can see tangible and say, this person has gone through this, so, and they can relate and maybe try and start coming from a point of understanding of this disease. So mainly I want to talk about mental health, but I will point specifically towards depression today, because I have been through depression. I have suffered through depression, and it's not something I think you can say that you're healed, but it's something you learn how to live with, and you get coping mechanisms, and you can flourish as a person having gone through depression. So I'll give you like a review of what my life has been, how it all started till today. I've always had this. I've always been introverted. I have an introverted personality. My strength is to be by myself and do things alone. So I think even as it cropped up, or it was cropping up, no one really noticed, because it is just my nature to be alone and to be by myself and to keep by myself. And most of the time, if I'm even with people, maybe I have some earphones on, I'm listening to some music. That has always been my personality. So I think going through when I went through boarding school from class 6 and started being more withdrawn. Then I think, now taking hindsight to it, I went to high school, and as you have seen in my previous video, there were those instances of bullying, and I call them bullying. No one threw something at me, no one soaked my bed in water, or any of those stories I've had. But I think there's nothing worse as psychological, emotional bullying, and that is something I experienced. Whether or not I knew I was experiencing it then is irrelevant. That is something me and some of my friends experienced. So after that, I went to campus. When I went to university, I was okay for the most part, but this is when my dad started becoming sick, and that really affected me. Anyone who knew me as a child knows how connected I was to my dad, and that is something that really affected me. And in campus, I discovered partying. So anytime I would feel even a little bit low, I knew I could go out, I could dance, I could have a drink, and I would somehow forget, at least for the moment, what was going on. And most people, even when I was in university, most of my close friends didn't really know what was going on with my father. Anyway, flashback, I finished my university studies, and it took a while also, and clearing up with school was also a problem. I ended up graduating a year after most of my friends had graduated, because I couldn't clear from school. Like, let's say 3 months? I don't remember exactly when, but I had been through an incident with, at that time, my best friend at that time. I had gotten an internship at Homeboys Radio, for those who know Homeboys Radio, but it was sharing space with Power Radio. So I was attached to Power Radio, and I used to go there. There was a show between 4, I think, and 7, and I was there as an intern because my cousin had known I had this passion for media and journalism, and she found someone who talked to someone who got me that chance so that I could study everything that happened in a media setting. So one day when I was coming from the said attachment, I met up with my best friend at the time, and we did some shopping at the supermarket, and we went and waited for matatu. For those who live in Kenya, you know. Those who live outside, it's a public means of transport we use to get to one place to another. So we waited for the matatu, we got in. It was odd later looking back on it, but we didn't find it odd because we didn't get to sit together. And long story short, we ended up being hijacked. Lucky for us, the only thing we lost were our personal effects. But long story, it's actually a very long story, but I believe prayers from our families and friends who knew what was happening or knew we were missing, because at that time, when we were going through this ordeal, our family knew we were missing. They didn't know what was wrong with us. So I strongly believe that their prayers got us safely back home. So long story short, we were rescued. Police took us to police station, recorded statements. We got back home. So this, because I had already had issues clearing some of my units, they could not be located and blah blah blah, delayed my graduation. So I delayed graduation by 1 month. Already here a note that I'm already going through feelings of low self-esteem. Now I've not graduated, so feelings of worthlessness are somewhere there. I'm not happy. I've always had issues with ulcers, so I have these problems, and I was basically just low in my life. I was going through such a low season, and it was a continuous thing. It wasn't just one moment. So this accumulated. Okay, it came, and I graduated. I registered to go to do my postgraduate diploma at Kenya School of Law. So then I just felt like I was already on this low steamboat and I didn't feel like I could relate to anyone there. I felt like an oddling. Most of my friends had other friends who were, and I felt like I was uko chini, down there, with the lows of the lows. And I think this now continued accumulating, and I only found solace when I was having a drink. That's when I could feel like I'm myself, and I would remedy my feelings of lowness with that. And watching TV. So most of the time I was by myself. I didn't really go out. I didn't really associate with others. I just had no form of self-worth, to be quite honest now. Then I really didn't know what I was feeling or what I was going through. So in the midst of doing my pupillage, my dad passed away. Oh, I should also share that before that, we were again held hostage in one of my auntie's houses. We were three of my aunties and me, my sister, my brother-in-law. We were so many of us, and this consequently also affected me. Lucky again for us, we got out unscathed, only lost our personal belongings. So this was now in 2011. The hijacking happened in 2009. So this was 2011, and that was, I think, some few maybe weeks before I started going to Kenya School of Law. So then Kenya School of Law, and going through all these feelings, and my father passed away when I was doing my pupillage. So once he did, that was another blow that now really took me off. It took me off to the point that I stopped my pupillage. I did not go back, and I said I do not want to go back, and I was just done. I was done with law. I decided that I will stay with the degree. I have the degree, well and good. I am done with law, and up to today I've not been passed to the bar. That's one thing I've not been open about. Sometimes I've just said, yes, I got passed, but I was not passed to the bar. And in hindsight, it's not my passion. It's not something I want to do. It has disturbed me, and I've not owned up to it, because it is an accolade I believed I should have had for me to be worth something, for me to be worth a grain of salt. I believe it's something I should have had, but personally, I really don't. It's just not something I wanted to do. And now I can, at least now it's out there in the open, and I can say that. So I have a law degree, and what do? Start looking for at least jobs I can do. Yes, my dad is gone, and I'm still mourning inside. I didn't even really mourn when he passed. As I said in my learning to grieve video, I was going through the motions like a robot. So so I've been in and out, trying this job, trying that job, but truly maybe I was trying to peg my worth on things that were not really necessary, and I was not dealing with what I was going through, what I had been going through for years now. I was not acknowledging it. No one else understood. As I've also said, I have a very supportive family, but I think they themselves did not know what was wrong with me. They did not know how to help. They helped as much as they could, but that's all they could do. I finally got diagnosed. I don't know if it's the right word to use, but finally someone saw what was wrong with me, and they told me, you are going through this. You are trying to self-destruct because you are depressed, and it's an accumulation of so many things that have happened. So for those who've been asking me, there's someone who asked me, you keep on saying you added weight because of medication. What medication made you add weight? I was taking antidepressants. So antidepressants caused me to add weight. In a span of 1 month, I added over 15 kilograms. And I had been warned by my mom, knew someone who'd also been through that, and they had warned me, but the reality hit when it actually fell on me, because I would try on clothes and they would not go through. And I think one of the other side effects is you get a strong craving for almost anything and everything. So I was eating, and I was not eating healthy food. I was eating pizza, chocolate, all the junk together with the medicine. It was chaos. So I was sort of okay for a while. I was seeing a counselor. I was seeing a psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist is the one who prescribed for me the drugs. And I was also seeing a counselor, and I was trying to now go through all the layers of all these things that had happened to me, that had buried me under they had buried me inside, and the top coating was now all this self-destruction. And for the most part, I was getting along well, and I was dealing with my problems. It's hard for me, so when I'm doing this, I'm actually listening to myself talk, and I can't believe I am opening up to the world, basically. But as I said, it is a necessary conversation to be had, and it needs to be had with someone tangible saying it, so that someone out there, people out there, can see there are others who look okay, but they have gone through this or are going through this, and they have come out on the other end, and they're still working every day towards being true to themselves, and be happy and being at peace with themselves. And it is possible, so that at least there can be a glimmer of hope where there is none. Yeah, so as I continue, so first backtrack to last year, the job I was working. I think most people maybe till now don't really understand me. They just say they have their own thoughts or ideas about who I am, and I know mostly it's packed with who maybe I know in the same organization I work with, and that is one of the worst things you can do to someone. Let me just say it, not to judge anyone, criticize anyone. The worst thing you can do is label someone because they might know someone else who works in the same organization, because that in itself is a form of shunning, and that shunning also leads to more withdrawal to that person. So if you see someone going through something, reach out and talk to them and understand why that person is maybe going through. Try and understand as much as you can. I have friends of mine who I've been hospitalized a couple of times because of it, because I would not eat, I would not take care of myself. And I have a friend of mine, especially Tabby was there for me when I was going through this. She came and saw me in hospital. She understood what I was going through. Flora, I mentioned I think in my first video, she was also always there for me, and I'm very grateful to these people. My friends Mercy and Bayu, I'm digressing, but I think it's just necessary to mention that the people who've been with me through this and have always supported me, and that's why I consider them my people, because they have been with me in my lowest of lows, knowing the truth about me, but still sticking by me and still calling me their friends. And I'm sorry. And there's nothing as valuable as that to someone who's going through depression. Okay, so I was transferred, and when I came back, it hit me like a ton of bricks, because as I also mentioned in my previous video about 32 and all the confusion surrounding that age, and me being single and childless and all that. So you can also watch that in that video. When I came back, it also like took me back a step, because one, I was not seeing the counselor I was seeing. I decided to stop my medication because I just couldn't handle how I felt, and to an extent, all I was seeing was the weight. I was not seeing any other thing. So I got reclined back into my shell for a minute. But then from the time I got up in, I can say, I can pinpoint the month, that's September, because I always remember that day. I wrote it down, September 3rd. I think that's the day I just woke up, or God woke me up and told me, Juliet, you are better than this, and I'm going to show you that all the pain you have gone through was for a purpose. Yeah, all of that was for a purpose. And I can thank God and say, since then, and that's why I'm such a strong person of faith, because I don't believe, personally for me, I would have done this without God. I would have done this without my faith. It is the most fundamental thing in my life today, and there's nothing else. That is the first thing, not nothing else, but that is the first and most concrete thing I can attribute to who I am at present and how I'm living and leading my life. My faith, my God. My family has always had my back. There are those friends, those who have mentioned, and colleagues who don't even know my story. They'll know now, but they've not known that I can also attribute my strength to. But first and foremost and most fundamental is my faith and my God. And I am where I am today because of that. I've not gone back to my medication, and I don't want to do this, but I highly recommend it for anyone who has that prescription, to just take it with your, of course, in correlation with your doctor, because you never know. I'm okay, I'm good, I've been good. Since September, I've not had a moment where I've reclined back to my shell or I've been withdrawn, but that I can attribute it strongly to taking care of myself. I take a lot of care of myself. That's why I mentioned in the magic series, and I'll continue mentioning it, the attitude of gratitude that is in correlation with my faith. In every morning, my routine, I wake up, I pray, I read my Bible, and I also share the word of God with others, and mostly my friends. I know Baby J, you're watching. My friend Nyambura, my mom, my sister, I share, and that is a ritual that I don't miss. I don't miss because I know it's part of my growth. It's part of my ground. It's my grounding foundation. It's the, what's that bottom thing when you're building a house? It's the foundation of my everyday. It's the first thing I do before my foot touches the ground, before I come out of bed. Then after that, it's just every day. I love music. I'm always listening to music. I'm always singing, and that also is part of my self-care. Now I'm, as you've seen also in my previous videos, that's why I'm very strong on health and what I'm eating, what I'm feeding to my body, and also why for my colleagues, why I speak out on certain matters. And that leads me to the past 3 days and why I decided to start this conversation now, and then build up with it with other people's input and professional input later. So I bring it to the past 3 days. A day I was off on that day. So in the morning, I woke up, did my usual routine, and I was editing my video to post on that day, and I got a call that there's a guy who works where I work, not in the same company, but in a different company but in the same area. This is now public knowledge, so I know I'm not causing harm to anyone on speaking out of it, and no names will be mentioned, of course, that someone had committed suicide. They had jumped to their death. And that was it just brought sadness in my heart. I didn't know him personally. I just saw him once or twice, but it really, really touched me personally, because I don't know, I have all those shoulda, woulda, couldas. So many times I'm like, oh, maybe if I had known this person and I had reached out, maybe something would have happened. But I know it's just wishful thinking, because I would not have known what that person was going through if they're not voiced that out. And it's hard for someone going through depression to voice out and say, this is me, I'm suffering. Even when I was going through the early stages, I did not only didn't I speak out, I didn't even know exactly what I was going through. So that is very tricky. So yeah, unfortunately and sadly, he took his own life. And that day we reported to work the next day in the morning. And at some point, someone just commented, someone I know, of course not, I cannot mention any name, and I wouldn't, even if I wanted to, I wouldn't. Someone mentioned that this person was abnormal, and I said, what? Why would you say that about someone else? You didn't know. I know this person. I was like, this person was working. This person was employed by someone. They were coming to work every day. So, and they're gone. You cannot say that about someone. Granted, this person who I'm having this conversation with, one, doesn't know what I've been through, or even if he did, I don't know if he would care, because it's sad, but we have to admit that there's some people who just have such mindsets, and they work amongst us and live amongst us, and even after I post this video, they will not cease to exist. So he said that, and I rebutted him, because I'm always quick to defend anyone who I might sense or I might see is struggling, because I keep on telling people, you don't know what that person is going through. You've not been in their shoes. And I say from a point of coming from that same place. I have been somewhere, and I know people have judged me. I know people have spoken about me, and they did not know what I was going through. They just assumed and decided that this is the label they're going to give me. And it's not easy, coupled up with whatever you're going through already, to hear these things. And yes, people know what people are saying about them. It's not easy. So I tried to shut what he was saying down, and I shut it down by telling him, you cannot judge someone, you don't know what someone was going through. End of discussion. Now, I don't know if that angered him, and he responded by telling me that I'm the one next, and he does not even know where I'll throw myself from. This came from someone's mouth, a normal human, breathing human being who I'm not a stranger to. We relate every other day. So it threw me a bit, and I was silent. Then I told that person to get away from me. They repeated the same statement, and I repeated in Kiswahili, but I'll say it in English. I said, please move away from me, tafadhali ni ondoke, because I did not want to respond. And I was also coupled up with shock. And someone might think this is a joke or it's funny. There's nothing funny. I repeat, there is nothing funny about wishing death or implying death of another human being. Nothing funny at all. not today, not tomorrow, not the day after. And you don't know what your words can do to someone. I'm just saying hypothetically, I'm at a very good, strong place right now. And I speak up most of the time because I don't want anyone to steal my peace. And I keep on saying it. The most valuable thing I have in my life right now is my peace. And I will not allow anyone to steal it. Not anyone, not even my family. No one is taking my peace from me, and I protect it with such ferociousness. So I did not say anything to that gentleman apart from please move away from me. And it was tough, and I had to take a break and go to the bathroom to cry, because I don't know, most people who know me know my anger is released through tears, because I feel that thing here, and my heart is just, and I'm like, yeah, you see, I can't even describe it in words. But I went and cried, and that to me was release, and I let it go. And here to start this conversation, it won't end with this video. This is only the first step. I'm going to try and get other people who have gone through similar situations and who are willing to open up about it, to maybe throw in their 2 cents in my channel. Also, I will try to look for a professional. I have an auntie who's a counselor, but she's in Nairobi. But I will try. If I cannot get any other person, I will find a way to get to her and to have this conversation also, because it is very important and very necessary, not only to people who are going through it, but to their family and friends and colleagues, to know, to understand the signs, and to know how to reach out to that person without either pushing that person over the edge or pushing that person away. So it is very important to have it. I will just give in my 2 cents now. As I said, I'm so nervous about this. I'm so nervous about posting this. But anyone who might be going through a similar situation and is downgrading themselves, or is beating themselves up, or is thinking of themselves worthless, there's so many people out there. Think of someone who is maybe well known or a celebrity that you admire, and see their background. They have gone through something for them to be who they are today. You cannot most of the time, okay, you can, but it is hard for you to help without having a story yourself. So see, I can give you names like Richard Branson. He failed, that's why he's where he is today. He dropped out of school and such. Oprah Winfrey has been through so much, including abuse, and all that has garnered up to who she is today. Let's see, when I think of great leaders, I think of Nelson Mandela. He was in prison for years, and that made him, I believe, the great leader that he was. So if you're going through challenges, and if you're putting yourself down because you've had an issue here or there, please, first and foremost, you need to change that mindset. There are people who will love you, and the real people in your life accept you with all your challenges. No one is perfect in this life. No one, even the person you look at and you think is perfect, is struggling with something. It might not be mental health, it might not be failing but in exams, it might not be, but there is something they're struggling with. Everyone struggles, and no one should shun you or put you down because you are struggling with something. You need to first accept yourself. That is the reality of life. Those things happen. Start learning what suits you, how best you can cope, and start releasing, because when you start accepting your past and everything that has happened to you, then now you can start releasing all the negativity that you might have experienced, as I have seen, and that way then you can now start working on you. Everyone is a great person. Everyone can be great, and Nothing should hinder your greatness, not even something like mental health. Mental health is vast. There's bipolar, there's anxiety. There are people who I come across who were maybe born with something like Down syndrome or autism, and all this is a part of mental health, and we need to stop treating mental health as psychosis. It doesn't mean the person is crazy. Just the same way you take care of your physical body, if you try to eat well, you try to exercise, so does your mind. Your mind is actually one of the most important organs in your body. So in the same way, you need to take care of your health mentally. It is one of the most important things to do as a person, and it is easier said and done, I know, but with self-acceptance and working on yourself and assistance from other people, I know for a fact you can do this. I am a living example that you can triumph. It's an everyday process, it's an everyday thing, and the best thing about it is that I take care of myself even more better because of what I've been through. I don't let myself go. As I said, I have my morning rituals and other things I do for myself every day, and it has proven to grow not only me personally, but it helps me to help to grow and change others, and it's bringing my quality of life way up here when it used to be down there. So take it as a blessing. I take my issues as blessings nowadays, and I take them to so that I can help others. And I think I try as much as possible to relate to others the way I'd like to be really related to. Even at work, there's no one I treat as superior to the other, as everyone is giving a contribution to this society. So everyone should be treated equally in the sense of kindness, in the sense of helpfulness, in the sense of friendliness. Everyone should be treated in the same way regardless of what they do, and I think that is one of the things I have gotten and I have learned from all the things I've gone through, and I'm grateful because it has grown me as a person. It has changed me as a person. The way I relate to other people is totally different, and it totally stems from my past experiences. To other people who might not be going through this, but to have, you definitely, I know, look and observe. You have family members and you have friends, or you even have colleagues who are going through mental health issues. Be kind. That is the first step. Be kind. Stop stigmatization. Stop treating this person as a different person. Just because someone might have a different background or might act differently, that doesn't mean that this person is not capable of. This person is not less capable because of this. In fact, they can be a great value and addition to your family, your friend circle, your organization, if you just give them this the fair treatment and kindness that they deserve. If you see someone is maybe a habitual smoker, or you think someone, I know that this label of being a drunkard, most people drink to drown their sorrows. Most people escape from depression through drugs and alcohol, or over sexualized behavior. All these things are mostly, I can't say 100%, but mostly related to people who are fighting mental health issues. So instead of judging someone, please try and figure out if something could be wrong with that person, and reach out and help that person if you can. One thing I know is you cannot force someone to be helped, but you can reach out and you can change their attitude towards them. And if they genuinely want help, they will seek it from you. Personally, I know I not only needed help from others, I needed to realize and re-realize my worth and my value, and pick that up and say, no, Juliet is someone better, Juliet is someone greater, and this is what Juliet needs to do for Juliet. And that's when, together with other people, I got the help. So you cannot force someone down someone's throat, but you can be a tool for someone reaching out for that help. So it actually angered me a little that someone so ignorant could hurt me so much and anger me so much, but I'm a human being, and I will go through emotions just like everyone else. Just because I'm strong in faith doesn't mean that I don't have emotions. I'm human. Cut me, I bleed. But I think I'm even grateful to him, because I was wondering when I'll do this, and mainly because I did not have the courage I needed to broach this subject out. But I'm glad to him. Thank you, actually, you know yourself, for making me do this. And I'm just happy that I am at a place where I can actually receive such and come back at it and come out of it with a smile and a laughter on my face, and say, I'm better than that, and you will not put me down. Anyone else going through any health issue, please go back and see yourself as the valuable human being that you are, and if you can, reach out for help. My prayer is that we stop belittling mental health from now henceforth and start carrying it with the seriousness that it carries. I heard someone saying shida ndogo ndogo. I don't believe kuna shida ndogo ndogo. Those ndogo ndogo things you think are ndogo ndogo are the ones that accumulate and become such a big thing. So let us not shun anyone who we might think might be going through a problem. If you can, please talk to someone, or at least reach out to someone else to talk to someone. Let us not shun people and belittle people's issues. We are all different. We are all even me in my family, I'm so different from my sisters. How I handle things and how my sisters handle things, or my cousins handle things, are so different. So we are all different. What might seem little to you is not little to someone else, and what might seem grandiose to you is not that big to someone else. So let us not shun anyone. Let us be kind. Kindness changes so much, you have no idea. Let us not belittle anyone's issue, and if you can reach out to someone, please do. Don't push, but if you can, please do. Thank you so much to my family. My family has always had my back, beginning with my mom. I am where I am today because of a praying mother. So thank you, Mommy. You know I love you. Thank you to my sisters, Carol, Sheila, Collins, Collins' family. Collins is my brother-in-law. Collins' family, Mamwahu, and the rest. Thank you so much for even accepting us as your family and me, and always being there for me. Thank you to all my family, Uncle Amos, Uncle Ben, Auntie Miriam, Auntie Lina, Auntie Nancy, Auntie Mercy, Uncle Eric, and families inside. You know I can't mention everyone, for always having my back. Thank you to all my friends, especially those who have been with me through this journey. Flora, Tabby, Mbeyu. Thank you. Mercy, you know, Mercy gets on a flight and comes to see me. Just thank you so much. You know, guys, how much I love you and the spaces you hold in my heart. Thank you, guys. All those colleagues of mine who spend the day talking to me and laughing with me, especially those who are with me at my place of work this other time. I don't want to mention their names because they might not want to be mentioned, but thank you. You know yourselves, you're awesome. Continue being the people you are. Everyone else, I will leave you with this: be kind to one another. Thank you. God bless you. Till
I will run, I will climb, I will soar. I'm undefeated.